Profanity. Watch a profanity.
All right, guys. Welcome to the official South by Southwest stream. We're going to show you Sonic Adventure Remastered XD.
We're announcing every single fucking game you ever wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Half-Life
Sonic
3.
Adventure 3. Yeah.
Sonic
It's
Adventure
Sega's
3.
now. Sonic 06 Part 2, Episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
Sonic 06 Adventure 3 Part 5.
Fucking Crash 4, Metroid Prime 4, Sega 2. We're gonna announce Sega 2 tomorrow.
Sega 2.
Hard times.
We're also deleting Sonic Boom from the timeline. It's official. We can delete games.
You can just delete timelines.
Delete stuff that happened.
Chaos Control.
Chaos Control. I'm gonna delete the timeline.
I'm a bad bitch. You can't kill me.
Some people say that I like Sonic Adventure 2.
Not
so.
The stream turned on right when I said Chaos Control.
Chaos Control.
And I muted the stream.
Chaos Control.
Get muted.
Just chaos.
Chaos Control.
You have to control chaos.
Gonna fucking pre, dude.
Happiest days of my life, hard times gone by.
Is that like some type of vocalized Ice Cap Zone?
It's a song that Ice Cap Zone is kind of based off of, technically.
It's the beat. Hard Times by the Jetsons.
George Jetson. Bam, 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 bam.
It's literally Ice Cap Zone. It's from the same person. It's Brad Buxer, who helped Michael Jackson with the soundtrack of Sonic 3.
Nice.
He literally just took the beat of Ice Cap and made
the story I saw, like I thought Michael Jackson worked on it for the longest, but I think technically, just people who work with Michael Jackson happen to work on it, and Michael Jackson never actually got around to like personally doing stuff with it.
I don't know. Why do we always end up talking about Michael Jackson?
Because he's cool.
Is he though?
He's the king of pop. He's the king of pop.
Is he though?
God, I cannot watch the stream. My internet's just dying.
Oh boy.
The stream just keeps buffering for me and hasn't even gotten to anything yet.
Dang. Can't
Wow.
believe Reese got fired.
Hard times,
Do we have anybody in the stream?
Not at the moment, I don't think. Just giving it a few moments to...
I can stream with Fried.
Yes, you can.
What?
It puts a rainbow filter over the stream.
Oh no, we have people in the stream, I think. It says 3 people, and
Yeah,
only 2 of us are
you,
watching
me,
it.
and Reese.
You're not watching a stream. I don't think you can watch your own stream.
Yeah, I
Still
can.
count as a viewer when you're streaming.
Yeah, you can watch your own stream. You count as a viewer. I don't know why, but you do. Although I haven't muted, so it may not actually count me. If you haven't muted, it doesn't count you.
Oh, it says users in chat. Another TT viewer.
Those are bots. All of them are bots.
What about Larks and Srisby?
Bots.
Oh,
Everywhere.
I don't even know where they came from.
that's
They're
sad.
always on everyone's streams.
Well,
They're always on mine.
I don't think they count as actual viewers because the viewer count doesn't actually
They
go up
don't.
even though they're there.
That's why it doesn't go up. They're always there, but your viewer count never goes up because they're bots.
Just waiting a moment.
Just realizing that we're having our bi-weekly.
No, we have it every 2 weeks. It's a bi-weekly.
No, but like, given the month.
Oh.
What?
Ha!
Oh.
June.
So funny.
Fizz is dead, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, Fizz
Is dead.
Can't believe Fizz died of Ligma.
Who the fuck is Ligma?
Fizz. Oh no. Okay.
I already posted the link.
I posted a link in Infinity Chat.
I posted it in Infinity Plus updates. You know, the chat people go to for updates.
Well, Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs.
Oh, I'm glad nobody else is in this chat because they'll actually think we're crazy.
We are.
Wait, what?
Thing.
Oh no.
There are people watching.
It's not telling me how many people
I'm a
are watching.
moderator and Emmanuel is just another user. Ha!
Ha.
Eat it.
No.
Just eat it, eat it.
That was
Eat
good.
it. Eat it.
I'm a mod because I have no life and I always watch everyone's streams.
Always a bystander.
And Emmanuel actually has stuff he needs to do in his life.
Like drive my sister to work.
Oh, no, okay, their viewers are going up slightly now. Now people are starting to get in. We can get
Because I
started
put
here
in
in a minute.
Infinity Chat. Can we do a poll real quick? Let's see which chat people watched in order to get the link.
I'm announcing Emmanuel's fired. That's my
Okay.
first announcement.
First order of business.
Oh, now
isn't
I
that
think
what
my
got off
internship for Sega.
My mom is watching. Don't say anything bad. My mom's watching.
Mom's watching.
Wait, really?
Yeah, she just texted me. She's like,
Hi.
I'm watching.
Oh, hello, Fizz's mom.
Hi, Fizz's mom. I'm his British friend.
I'm his southern friend.
You told him
other-
to say hi to me one time, so I'm saying hi back.
See, I told you I would tell him that you said hi. You told me to tell them, and I did tell them, and you told me that if I didn't tell them, you would not be happy. So I did tell them.
Fizz is a great person.
I
No,
can
no, no. That sounds
So he fired you.
He's
No,
a good person. Gets fired.
He's
I
a
deserve
good
it.
person. He just gets.
I deserve it. I deserve it. It's fine.
You deserve it, yeah. Alright. You don't want to fight it.
Okay. Can't say anything bad. Got it.
Do we still
Engine
have?
stinks.
Oh wait, hold on. Did you change Sonic's materials?
Can't say the
Again?
no word. I did. No.
King?
The one up next to the Emerald is Tiger's Edits.
Oh,
And
okay.
then the one down below is the Infinity to the left and the new to the like in the middle, like in the normal area.
Can we go back to Tigers? Because I do like that one.
No.
I think the blues aren't really all that different, but I like the arms and the muzzle and chest on Tigers more. It feels more natural that way.
I like the blues on it.
I mean, to me, the blues are basically indifferent.
Maybe you're just slightly colorblind blue or whatever it's called.
No, I'm not.
Wow. You're colorblind there.
There's a 1 in 5 chance.
I've been tested for color blindness. I know.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, it's the green background of the emerald. Just throwing me off.
Told you.
That's not color blindness, though. That's color contrasting. That's how lighting works.
But how come I could tell better than you could?
because
Special.
Because I'm wearing my glasses too.
I should-
I can't see.
I need
Tiger
a
will
Hey,
fight
Tiger.
for materials again.
Yeah, yours are a superior, all great one.
But mine, look, I spent hours in listening to a bunch of people yelling at me to do the textures the way they are now, and nobody's appreciating them.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm being a douche.
The textures? Oh, for
Yeah,
Sonic?
you know, the new Sonic materials. I
Huh.
spent ages working on them. I even went to people in the Discord, asked them how they what would be done and how it should be done, and I kept getting yelled at.
Oof.
Hmm.
Well, if it was Diner, then that's to be expected.
Dino's profile picture
Dino
is
was
just
the
him
one.
yelling.
Dino was the one who was helping me
Oh.
because you know he's a material master.
Oh, Fizz with glasses.
Yeah, I know. Me with glasses.
Fizz with glasses doesn't exist. He can't hurt you. Fizz with glasses.
Oh, yeah,
Wow, okay.
I haven't been wearing mine. I need to wear my glasses. I need to save my eyes.
I've only been awake whenever my screen's in night mode, so I've never needed to use in the past few days. Also, hi, Tiger. Sorry, I didn't get to that.
I said hi. I said hi for you because you know I pay attention to the chat, seeing I'm your moderator.
Also, my mother texted me saying hi to everyone who said hi to her.
Oh. So, Reef, to be fair, like your texture is nice. I just personally prefer Tiger's. I'm not saying yours is like bad or anything.
Yeah, because first of all, I've complimented your materials. I think they're good. My only flaws with them are not because you worked on them, but because they're generations as materials. I don't like this shade for his...
I don't know why, but it reminds me of like Sonic Heroes color blue now that I look at it. I don't know why.
Maybe because you know I have a freaking
Heroes hard.
I look shifty. I look shifty towards heroes all the time.
I like your what you call it, censorship.
My censorship, yes. Look, I try to censor myself, and then Fizz just went ahead and said it, so you know.
But you were talking over him, so you full double duty.
I was saying what you were all thinking, okay? I was saying what you were thinking.
I need to go wash my hands.
Brave.
I got some lemon custard creams to eat.
Did you say custard?
Yes, custard creams.
Chocolate? Did you say?
Be right back.
Alright, so real quick to go over a couple of things. One, part of the wonderfulness of this refactor was... Wait, which button was it?
2.
Okay. Debug menu! Ha! We got debug menu.
Really helped with that. He's the one who actually made it, and I just kind of programmed it a little.
If your game starts to tank when the debug menu is on, don't be surprised. It all runs on an event tick, which I've not even looked at the code yet, so I should probably take a look at it, see if I can optimize it anywhere.
Yeah, we need to optimize. I want to optimize this at some point, but it works for now.
Stat, FPS. Keep in mind... Oh, this must be because it's in full screen.
Yeah, this stream is dying on me all of a sudden.
Probably because it doesn't like doing both. Playing it, like, playing the game and streaming at the same time. That's weird. It doesn't say there's any drops, though. But anyway, we have a debug menu now.
Yay.
And the debug menu will tell you a couple of things. I know I kind of just got started out of nowhere. I didn't mean to press that. The debug menu will tell you...
Fast.
God damn it, I gotta trigger this. I wanted to pause. I'm so tired. I'm hitting all the wrong buttons. The debug menu will tell you a few things.
You want to just go to the asset and show it?
No. The debug menu will obviously tell you, I believe the number on the far left is the default, correct?
Yes, that's your default value for the character.
Yeah, and of the physics state, correct?
Yes, for the physics state.
Yeah.
If you go on a rail, for instance, it will change.
Yeah, so on the left, we got the physics state. The first row, we have, which modifier is it?
That's your reference modifier.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, the first row of numbers here are your reference modifier. Your second row is your... That's not the state modifier, is it? No, the ability modifier.
Ability modifier, yeah.
Yeah, Emmanuel's correct. And then the last number is the total value after modifiers have been applied.
Yes, and to be correct, this is like your actual value that's gotten directly from, like, say, gravity or friction. So, and it will turn red if for whatever reason it doesn't equal it or equal the calculation. Mm-hmm. So it will let you know if for some reason the calculations shown on the left don't equal the calculations on the right. It means that you probably messed up.
So to show it off a little bit here, let's see what to do. Oh, we can go into the water. Whoop. So if we go under the water, we will see the physics state has not changed because we are still in a regular physics state. We're just underwater. But the number on the far right has changed to a 1 because gravity changes whenever you're underwater. And so does max acceleration and braking deceleration and braking deceleration while falling, things like that.
Yeah, and you can show up the reference calculation how it sets it to 1.
Yeah. So if you look here, it says like 1 minus 1. Essentially, it means it's, the reference is subtracting your current gravity to get your gravity, correct?
That's an arrow. Arrow means that you're just setting it to 1.
Oh, I thought that was
You're
actually
just directly
changing it.
setting the number.
Oh, okay, yeah, if you're setting it. It does show something specific if you're like adding or multiplying though, correct?
Yes, it has symbols for each different like kind of calculation. So to clarify, the system we're implementing is like a calculation system so that whenever you want to set gravity or friction or whatever, you always do a certain set of calculations. And what this allows is that if you're underwater, for instance, and you want to do an ability, you can do the ability and then you can go back to the gravity or friction or whatever of you being underwater without you having to worry about it, for instance. And to do this, there are certain calculations you can do. You can either not do any calculations, you can add, subtract, multiply, or divide by a certain number, or you can just set the number directly to another number that you want. So the arrow, for instance, showcases just setting the number directly. And what happens is that when you're underwater, your reference modifier, your reference calculation is set to 1, and then your ability modifier, the exclamation mark next to a calculation means you're not doing anything. Exclamation mark means we're not changing the number from 1 to a different number. So our 1 is the final value we get, and that's what the gravity is, for instance. And this is done for every single calculation.
So if I do an air dash, you'll see at the very bottom my terminal velocity. Can I? Yeah, I can lower dilate time. At the very bottom, my terminal velocity will change whenever I do an air dash. It'll go from 10,000 to 100. And if you look at it, the thing here on the right is going to change because the air dash is an ability. So it's going to reference the ability modifier.
250 frames.
250. Yeah. Oh, that's because I'm dilating time.
Oh, yeah.
So if I do an air dash, you can see it's being set to 100.
Yep. And of course, what this also means is that another benefit I realized with the system is that if you want, for instance, the air dash to act differently if you're underwater, instead of setting it to 100, you could just divide it by a certain number. So that, for instance, when you're underwater, your terminal velocity is a lower number. So instead of setting it to 100, I could divide it by, say, 1,000 or whatever. So when you're in air, your terminal
completely just broke out.
Velocity is actually different from when you're
Manual,
you're cutting in and out. Really bad.
You're breaking up for me too. Maybe I should stop streaming my screen.
Probably.
Yeah, stop that.
Okay, that may help.
I mean, I think the internet in general is dying right now because I can't keep up with the stream. The stream keeps pausing for me every 2 seconds.
That's weird.
Yeah,
It's not. I might be sharing my stream as well.
No, you're not. Everyone's just freaking out because of Min and Crash 4 and the internet's dying right now.
Min is crashing the internet.
Min break the internet.
She's filling the internet with ramen.
Yeah.
And another R word that you can't mention.
Ramen.
No rule.
Yeah, ramen.
Oh, for God's sake. Of course you would think of that.
Alright, so if you want to look at the top right, you'll see it says physics state, and it'll also say default. That means you're in a default physics state, obviously.
Yep.
So if I go underwater, that's not going to change because I'm not in a different physics state. I am just existing underwater, meaning I just need to change a couple of variables. However, if I do something...
Go on ice.
I can go on ice, but if I do something like this, and I roll, you'll see the physics state has changed to rolling, meaning I'm in an entirely new physics state right now.
And what's cool is that you can go underwater, and that will change. That will interact with your physics state calculations.
Also, as you can see, been working on the rolling ball.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. I was gonna bring it up later, but the visuals have changed.
Yeah. We started working on a rolling ball.
We'll go more into it later on.
Yeah, it looks cool. Anyway, when in a rolling state, you'll notice that, for example, by default, the friction has changed. The max acceleration and max speed has changed. Well, not the acceleration. The braking friction, the braking deceleration. A bunch of the physics by default has changed. And you want to do that for a specific reason. Essentially, if you need to alter any variables and such while you're in a state, but you want to reset them after like something changes. For example, if I go underwater while in a rolling state, and whenever I leave water, any modifications that the water would do to me while I'm in a rolling state will need to be changed. But the thing is, if I'm rolling whenever I'm underwater, but then I am still rolling whenever I leave water, I can refer back to the rolling's default variables rather than like a default variable or a non-rolling default variable, if that makes sense.
One quick thing to note is that also when you jump while in a rolling state, if you're just in midair, your gravity does increase slightly. That's something I did change, but I used an ability modifier to do it because I was like, okay, well, we can just treat jumping like an ability because there's not really much else you can do while rolling.
Mm-hmm. Same thing with skydiving. Skydiving is technically a state. Because you really shouldn't be able to do anything else while skydiving. Say for like stomping, you shouldn't be able to roll or anything like that. You can quick fall, and if you look right here at the very, very bottom right with the terminal velocity,
is kind of covering it.
Oh,
Your avatar.
Yeah, I'll turn it off. Just give me 1 second.
Turn your face off.
Yep, there we go.
Oh my god. What's going on? That's not normal.
Yeah, I know, it disappeared.
That's not default.
So if we go into the skydiving zone, my terminal velocity is going to change from 10,000 to 1,000, meaning I can only fall at a rate of 1,000. However, if I quick fall, you're going to see that the ability modifier is actually going to change. This one right here. It's going to change, and it's going to actually multiply by 7. Not set. It's not going to set my terminal velocity. It's going to multiply it.
Yes.
So it's multiplying by 7 to set the new terminal velocity as 7,000. But my default is still 1,000, so if I ever stop falling, I need to revert my terminal velocity to not the default terminal velocity, to the skydiving default. Because there is a difference between your normal terminal velocity and your skydiving terminal velocity.
Yes, and notice how the reference terminal velocity wasn't being changed at all, the leftmost calculation. This means that, for instance, since when you're underwater, that's not a physics state, you could technically skydive while underwater if you wanted to, and make so that water can have an effect on your terminal velocity or anything else. Mm-hmm. So that's one factor. And the reason why you maybe think to yourself, well, when you're underwater, that seems to be like, that should count as a physics state. What sort of like logic are we using to dictate what is a physics state and what is not? Well, really what we figured was a physics state should be a state you can be in as any character that cannot where you can't also be in another state. Mm-hmm. Like you can't roll while also skydiving. Default, you can't be skydiving while also default, you can't roll while also default. These are all mutually exclusive, but you can skydive while underwater, or you can roll while underwater. That's a big one. You can roll while on ice. You see ice actually has a changes your friction. It divides it by a certain number.
Yeah.
And I'll get into that later, but that's what we use as a reference, and we'll get into it later or show up at some other point. There are some extra physics states that you can customize yourself. They're called just physics states 1 and 2, I believe. And if you want, you can set those to be certain numbers. So if you want a physics state for, let's say you're in space, or I don't know, Sonic is flying, he's doing some certain game mode, you can set that to be a physics state in itself. But it can't, like, as a rule, because it'll mess up if you don't do it otherwise, you can't be in a physics state and either be rolling, skydiving, or having the default physics, or on rails. Rails also counts as a physics state, because you can't be on a rail while doing anything else.
Besides, like, boosting.
Well, boosting, yeah, but you can't be rolling, you can't be the default physics state, whatever you want to call it. Can't skydive.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Just slipping and sliding.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Oh,
Alright.
Reese, you may want to restart your stream, because it does, if you're lagging out, it does send you further behind.
Well, yeah, I've been constantly pausing and
Refreshing.
to try and catch it back up.
Yep.
But it just keeps crashing every 2 seconds.
Apparently, yeah, Twitch in general is just being a bitch, I think.
I did see trending earlier that Twitch had a blackout or something, or like something about Twitch.
Yep. I don't know what it is. I really enjoy these ice physics. I'm having fun slipping and sliding around on them.
Yeah, it really helps because, like, Reese updated the visual feedback, so now you turn in the direction you're trying to go instead of the direction that you're going.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big change when you're on ice physics. And I updated, so now rolling is now, using the physics state feature, when you roll on ice, it actually affects rolling differently
Oh yeah,
than when you're running around. I did
rolling
make
does not
another-
like it at all. Rolling does not like it at all.
Yeah. What I did was also I decreased the turning rate when you're rolling. That's a different. That's not a physics thing, but that's just a thing.
Yeah.
Oof, I just see. Oh my god, the freeze frame that happened for me with Sonic in the lava was
Oof.
brilliant.
Ooh. Whoa!
Oof size is large.
The oof size is large. So that's one thing that we've been doing. We're pretty much almost done with this refactor. There's like a couple of minor things here and there that we got to get cleaned up and done. But for the most part, like, future dev streams are going to be like actual
New things.
yeah, actual new things. This is probably going to be one of the last dev streams where we don't really have anything major to show off. We do have things to show off, and this debug menu is actually insanely helpful for both us and the end user.
Yes.
Unless
But the end user will lag the hell out.
Yeah, unless you run on a potato, and then
Yeah, we're going to try to optimize it mainly. Yeah.
Don't you say me. This wasn't my idea. This is yours.
this was your
I'll need your
idea.
help. This was my idea, but I'll probably need your help to do that.
Oh yeah, springs work now.
Well,
Cool.
things actually lock your movement properly.
There we used to have it turned on. We used to have a function turned on called like disable input, but they didn't actually work.
Yeah.
Now it does. It'll actually work now. Meaning if
Yeah,
you
what-
sell it to disable input for a certain amount of time, it will actually disable the input for a certain amount of time.
One thing we need to do is also make so that when you hit a spring, it like sets your position to like a point every time. Because one thing that can happen is that if you hit a spring on the outside, it will affect you differently than if you hit it on the inside or something like that, which can mess you up on certain automated sections.
Automation.
Yeah.
Just automation.
So,
You're still
Yeah, no,
breaking
that's
up like
what I'll do.
really
Already.
bad.
yeah, I noticed that you were too. I was wondering if that was on my end.
I'm pretty sure it's on
Yeah.
your end.
Am I fine?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Manual internet. Upgrade it now. Go download more RAM.
Go download more internet RAM.
I'll try.
I'm gonna be sad if like we've been talking this whole time, but like Twitch is just dead. Nope, the stream's working fine on my end. Like I pulled
No,
up Twitch
I'm
and it's
still watching it. I'm
it's
still
on.
watching it.
I have to update Windows.
I just keep lagging every now and then, but that's just probably my internet.
It's live.
Yeah,
It's
more
live.
like-
All right. Tiger says
More
it's
like
live.
Cookie Net.
Tiger says it's live, but he's also completely uninterested in what we're talking about.
Oof.
We have nothing interesting to talk about, except for
Ooh, we can talk about the bounce.
I was about to say that.
I read your mind. I'm sorry. I'm supposed to get permission before I could do that.
Gotta give consent.
Is it active, or was the stomp active?
I think the bounce is
Yeah.
active.
Bounce is still
Fine.
active by default.
Something about a bug named D. Yeah, the bug named D. We gotta get rid
What
of
would
him.
be?
Bug D for Smash. But anyway, as we had mentioned earlier, we have updated the materials for the rolling ball, as well as the bounce. Boing, boing. It also has like new little sound effect too.
It's the one from Sonic 06, which does have some good things, like the bounce sound effect. It sounds like you're actually like hitting the ground with some force.
Boom. I've been, ever since the sound effect has been added, I've just been bouncing around because I find it a lot of fun.
Yeah, we gotta fix the animation bugs with it though.
Yeah, they're minor, I think.
Animation bugs? What animation bugs?
Like
The
if
one where
you,
sometimes leave.
yeah, if you do it at a certain time, Sonic won't curl back into a ball.
Oh, it's just whenever you let go. It's just how
No?
the bounce is set up. If you just hold,
That's the wrong button. No, I'm not talking about the new material or the new actor thing. I'm talking about the animation itself. Sonic won't always curl into a ball.
oh right, I've never noticed that.
Sometimes he'll just uncurl, which is a bug.
Yeah.
But I've not really messed too much with the animation.
Yeah. There's some coding aspects we have to like touch up a bit that affect animations.
Yeah.
And also the bounce now. Before the bounce wouldn't do anything to your speed. Now it multiplies your speed by like 0.8, I believe was the number I settled on. So if you bounce repeatedly, you will slowly start losing speed.
Oof, nerf.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the bounce has been nerfed slightly.
It's nerf or not.
I'm pretty sure any speed you lost with the bounce is immediately gained back due to the fact that you can accelerate in the air.
Yeah, I mean, if you're like boosting before and you like rolled,
Yeah.
you don't get that speed back. Because before you almost kind of could.
Fine. So, yep. Yo, that was
Also, new landscape material I'm working on.
Oh yeah, that's another thing.
It's a dynamic landscape where you can make objects spawn in certain areas depending on the material.
Yep.
So right now I've been testing it out with spawning grass and bushes in only wherever there's grass on the ground. This is automatic as well. The textures are placed automatically depending on the angle. So when you make a hill, the side of the hill will have a dirt texture. The textures scale when you go very far away from them to help with performance. And you can still draw on the landscape wherever you want. And wherever you draw anything that isn't grass, grass will not spawn. But you can also make it so like rocks could spawn where the rocks are. There's a lot of things you can do with it.
Yeah. It looks pretty nice. And eventually, Reese, you said you were going to add a functionality for like grass to move out of the way when you get next to it and stuff like that.
Yes, dynamic grass.
Probably shouldn't have gravity be 4 when you're rolling. Probably should be more like 3.5 or something. Because like
It's only 4 when you're jumping. Well, I could change it.
I know that's the problem. Is the idea of rolling into a ball and rolling down a hill is to jump off the ramp? You know, you get the most height when you jump off a ramp.
Yeah, it was more so to nerf it. Like, remember you said, like, it feels too, like, you just kind of float in the air when you're rolling?
Yeah, I know. But that's just because rolling had the same default gravity, which is 3. I was meaning, like, increase it a little bit, not tie Sonic to the ground.
Yeah, well, I more so did that because I didn't want it so that, I know I'm defending myself, but my rationale was I didn't want to change the default rolling physics too much at the moment because I didn't know if increasing the gravity would also make it hard to roll up and down hills. But I thought, well, if you're in the air, that's the major problem right now. So that's why I did that. I could change it.
Okay. Also, as you can see, when you're rolling, it's doing the adventure flickering. I've been working on that recently. And I'm not 100% happy with it, but it's pretty much just like how it would be done in Adventure. It's just obviously it isn't the Adventure texture. It's the basic texture that pans. It's a weird thing. It's from Forces, I believe. But I did that just so then every character who can roll will have that dynamically change color.
Yep.
Because if you could change to Shadow, return to the menu. It would be the fastest way of doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Also, the jump ball's been changed so that now the emissive is actually noticeable, because before that was turned off for whatever reason. So
Yeah.
it's a bit brighter.
It's a lot brighter now. But with Shadow, I had to do certain things. You can turn on custom colors for the jump ball now. Depending, like, different from the actual character's jump ball color that you set by default.
Oh yeah.
So Shadow's is normally orange.
Shadow's Shadow's materials were also changed.
Yeah,
they're
Shadow's
much.
materials have changed. They're a lot
It's
darker now.
yeah. Well, it's like you know, heard of Vente? I think it's called Venta Black or something.
I don't know.
What are you
It's
talking about?
Still, it's just like a physics thing. There's a material that was made called like Venta or something black, which is like the darkest material ever known, and it's so dark that literally, if you like were to spray it on something and cover it with that material, it actually becomes textureless because you can't tell the difference.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It absorbs like 99% of all light.
Yeah, that's the crap that's on Shadow right now. Because if you just look at his body, he actually just doesn't have like texture, which is actually kind of a cool look. It looks like a shadow.
I just want to make textures.
But
anyway-
look cool.
I think it looks
But
cool.
anyway, I'll get back to what I was saying.
Yes,
Shadow's
please.
jump ball color is normally orange when you jump.
Hmm.
So that would have made the new roll ball / bounce ball also orange. So now there is an ability to customize colors even further with stuff. So now Shadow has the black like rolling ball, but everything else is orange. The when he's rolling, it's still a bit broken for the spikes, because I know exactly why, because they're also going black, and when you make a particle emission black, it doesn't show up. It's weird.
Mhm.
So I need to also make it so that dynamically changes color. So probably just going to make this jump actor really customizable, along with probably the boost and target reticle later on.
Yeah, I
I
like
thought-
the animation.
I thought you changed the composite.
I did. You go way faster because you got a better PC. Shut up.
And we should probably raise it up a little bit. So technically, this is kind of technically fixed, but kind of not. I need to go in and raise it a little bit more. But Shadow is not supposed to be doing
No,
this.
you need to raise that animation up a bit. You
Yeah.
just can reach a slightly higher frame rate than me.
Yeah. By slightly, I mean about 80 more frames.
Shut up.
Elitism.
Oof. Anyway, Shadow should not be almost flying. He should be skating on the ground. His flying will be reserved to the boost, like so.
Yes.
I try my best, but I don't succeed.
Can we all get a F? Can we all get like a heart in chat for Reese?
No. No heart.
Can we give it for our British boy, Reese, last name?
I like how Shadow leans. Like he gives a proper lean into his turns.
It's his animation blueprint. You have to change it so that when you're on ice, he doesn't do the McLean.
I'm aware of that. But
Oh, I know how to do it. Like, I need to go to everyone's animation blueprint and I need to put a variable in somewhere, and then they'll stop leaning.
he's got a proper
Yeah.
lean right there.
Mm.
We're gonna go around for Daniel. You guys be around for a bit more. I won't. As soon as this is done, I'm gonna go pass out.
You don't want to talk about combat and how hard it's going to be?
I said
again?
once this is done, Emmanuel. Once this is done, I swear to God.
Fizz has not been asleep for the past 10, 12 hours.
Yeah.
72 days.
It's almost been longer than 12 hours because I got up at like 6.
This
So
man needs to sleep.
I'm tired as shit.
Like,
Once the stream is done, obviously Reese and Emmanuel are still going to be up for a little while. You can talk to them on the Discord, but I will not. I will be going to bed as soon as we're done.
you're like just converted to my time now.
Pretty much. That's pretty much what's happened. I'm on British time now.
You've pretty much became a British.
This is the second time.
This is the second time.
Shall I send you some tea?
Yes, I need some good old tea.
I'll
I need some tea proper.
Proper British tea. I'll send it over in a ship. Don't get into the rivers, okay?
I promise not to get into the river. Anyway, to go over the next thing about the rework and the restructuring here. This is very important for anyone that's going to be using the project because you're going to need to know how to change things that you want to change. Why is my frame rate shit right now? Unreal, you're moving at like 20 frames a second. I'm so confused. Anyway,
Got it.
if you know anything about Unreal, you know that Unreal uses variables.
Variables?
Variable.
Oh, really? Tell me, what are these variables?
These variables here are obviously all the different floats, booleans, vectors, transforms, rotations, all that good shit that you're going to be using to calculate, set, and reference while coding your game and your characters. Essentially, if I were to open up all of these, well, like you can't see them because we have them all organized. But if I opened up all of these here, you're gonna notice real quick that there are a lot of variables. I mean, just so many variables.
Stuff to make a grown man cry.
I am still opening up variables. There are lots of variables. So what we're going to be doing, what we have done and we are still in the process of doing, is we're actually going to be removing all of these variables. They're going to be gone. They're going to be deleted. Just poofed. Non-existent.
Yeah, no more code.
No more code. We're going to remove all of the code and we're going to basically brain power. we're going to psychic our abilities into the game. What we're going to be using instead are structures. And structures are essentially just a library of variables that you can create and set and then reference back into. So, for example, all of these variables right here, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 variables related to the boost ability. All 12 of these variables are going to be set into one structure. So rather than having 12 variables here filling up the variable list and confusing the hell out of everyone, all you're going to be able to have to do now is to pull out one variable structure to get all of the data related to what it is you're looking for. And you can see over here that within the structure are a set of variables. So we got like boost energy max. If we look through here, we can see, as I close all these back up, I don't know why I opened all of them. That was a dumb move.
Oof.
Man's got to deal with people make mistakes in the heat of passion.
So we got boost energy total, we got boost energy decay, we got max speed boosting, etc, etc. One thing that's not listed on here is boost energy max because I think it's placed somewhere else down here. I think it's like character defaults or something like that, like general. But it's all the boost related data is going to be located inside of a structure. So instead of going through and looking for, oh, I need to go through the character, I need to look through a list of like crap tons of variables. Instead, what you're going to do is you can either If you want to change a variable for all of the characters, you can open up the structure here, or you can open up the structure in a child blueprint and change the variable specifically there. And similarly to other things in Unreal, if you want, you can get the data by either splitting the structure up and getting all of the variables like so, similarly to how you would get a variable like this here, except this is super ugly as hell. This is super massive and taking up a lot of space. So if you want instead, we can recombine the pin. We can pull off of this and break it instead. And this break is essentially the same thing as this node right here is the same thing as just doing this. But the difference is I can hide anything that we're not using. So I can compact it down into a very short space. So if I wanted to see if we're pressing the boost, what I can do is I can come over here and turn everything else off. Oh my god, Unreal, why are you being so slow?
You can also just hit hide unconnected pins and flip the one you want.
Yeah, but I'm trying to make an example, and if I do that, it's going to hide all of them.
Oh, man.
So I can now hide everything except for the very specific variables that I want, and obviously I can come up here and re-tick them back on to make them pop back up. And now I can get the very specific variable without having to break the structure open and it'd be a massive list and it's going to look super gross on your graph and all that stuff. I can pull out specific variables and do whatever the hell I want with them. Similarly to what you can do with this. Another nice thing is somewhere... Oh, where was that drift code at? It's not here. Not here.
Action grab?
In the drift. Oh yeah, it is on the action graph. You're right. I just don't know where.
Which part of drift? Like the actual drift?
Oh, yeah, right here. Okay, so all of these variables right here, all 5 of these variables are held inside of this one structure. So if I needed to set all of these variables, instead of having a massive line of variables I gotta set, I just have one variable here. And I just pull out what it is that I want to set inside of the data. And I set that data to what I want it to be. And then I just set that data into the structure. So to give it a bit of an example, if I want to set a structure, I can do the same thing here. And I can split the structure pins like so. But if I do that, that means that every time I pull out this set node, I'm going to be setting all of the variables all at once, which I might not want to do, which is really dumb. I don't know why they even do that. But, you know, there are reasons why you would want to do that. So if obviously I don't want to set everything inside of the structure, and I just want to set one thing inside the structure, like one very specific variable. Let's say, for example, the, the boost energy decay. If I wanted to set that, what I can do is I can get the boost structure, and I can pull off this and type in set members and boost data. And it's going to pull out this. I can go over here and go, oh, I want to set this boolean. The boost energy decay variable. That's what I want to set. Only this. I don't want to set anything else in the variable, in the structure. I just want to set this. I can plug whatever I want into it like so. And then I can right-click this. No, actually, no, don't right-click it. Pull off of it and type set. And then it will set the variable, which is super, super nice, which is essentially what we did up here. Is I pulled off the variable, I set members inside of the structure, and then I just set whatever the variables I want to whatever I want them to be, and then I set the structure afterward.
Yeah. And one thing to keep in mind is that you can still use variables as much as you want. This is restructuring for our code, so that it's easier to read what we have. We're not changing a core fundamental way that the game works. We're just restructuring it for ease of access, readability, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. We're like, yeah, that's exactly correct. We're not setting this in a way that like, oh, if you use Infinity Plus and you want to do anything custom, you have to use structures. That's not how Unreal works. We can't change the core functionality of Unreal like that. I mean, we can, but we're not going to. But I don't know. Well, I know that we can, as in we are capable of doing so, and we're allowed to. But I don't know if we have the technical know-how to do so. You might,
I don't think you
Emmanuel.
want to.
You might, Emmanuel.
Technology.
Possibly. I sort of did something like that for the physics structures, sort of, but not really. It's more so a convention that we would like everyone to follow. If you don't, well, I'm getting me mallet.
Yeah, like Emmanuel said, we're only doing these structures so it's easy for you guys to see. That way we don't have a massive list of variables. We only have a much smaller, compact list of structures, and the structures will contain the variables inside of them. Not only will that make it easier to, and less intimidating, primarily, less intimidating, it'll make it less intimidating to look at all of these variables and look at what all you have to work with. But it makes things more organized, for one, as everything is going to be compacted down. It's also going to be easier to learn because everything you need to learn are going to be in more centralized locations. And it's going to be easier to utilize because every time you need to change something, you're like, oh, I know exactly where that's at. I can just pull this out right here, and this one node is going to have all the information on this one thing that I'm going to need.
Yes, it's a more refined, mature way to set and get data when you have a huge list like we do. It's just there's a slightly more overhead. That's one downside I can think of. If you want to use this system, you have to make your own structure and add it, stuff like that. And in some cases, instead of pulling a variable, if you were to just use one variable, you would have to get the structure and then pull off of it and all of that. But we think that overall this is better than what we have before for at least the specific cases that we have here. There are many cases where a variable would do just fine, but these cases, we don't think so.
I wouldn't personally consider that example you gave. I wouldn't really consider that overhead, considering, like we said earlier, that's only an option. You don't have to use structures. Obviously, if you want to use Infinity Plus, you'll have to use structures based on what we have created. But if you want to create something unique, you are not obligated by any means to use structures. You can just create variables and place them wherever and whatever form of organization you prefer to use. What I would consider to be the biggest downside to using structures, and this is actually a pretty decently sized downside, but luckily it's only the one downside I can think of. The nice thing about the blueprint system here and how these variables and node system works is you're actually able to right click on a node and find references to the node.
Oh yeah.
So if I want to, for example, as I did just now, I want to know where at everywhere in this blueprint I'm using this variable, this boost drain variable. All I have to do is right click, I hit find references, and it's going to look for everywhere inside of this blueprint, meaning the master character blueprint, everywhere I'm using this variable. I can just double click and, oh, bam, the variables we're using here. It's also overlapped with shit and it looks ugly. So let me just, there we go. Or I can double click on that, bam, it's located right there, and bam, located right there. Or if I want to, I can also hit this this little binoculars thing, and it's going to look across the entire project for this variable. All of the blueprints that are going to be using this variable will pull up here. And obviously, there aren't any other blueprints that use this, which is fine. The only downside to using structures is you can still do this. Like if I went over here and I went to boost, I can find references to this structure, and it will pull out references to all of this structure. But the biggest downside to that is if I want to know specifically where I'm using specific variables inside of structures, I can't do that. That's probably the one downside to this is if I want to know only where it is that I'm using the boost energy max variable, I'm not going to be able to know that, unfortunately. That's the one downside. If I need to figure out where at that I'm going to be using that variable, I would have to look through every single instance in which I'm using the structure. To me, that's a pretty big downside. That's actually a pretty chunky downside to me.
Yeah, I actually forgot about that, honestly.
But also, to me, the pros outweigh the cons in this situation. That is pretty much one of the only cons I can think of.
Yeah, and we're not going to use structures for every single variable we have, just for clumps of variables that represent like an ability. Like I think that's what you mostly used it for, right? Like abilities and also is and can states.
I also use it for things like the camera and the orientation and things. I created a structure for everything. I did create a structure for everything, I think. There are like very few things I didn't use structures for, like no, I did use it for the Wisp, but like item-related things, or I didn't create structures for event timers because that would be dumb, or things related to the water or any components because you can't create structures of components, I don't believe.
I don't think you can.
There are some variables I did not create structures for because either one, they are like for example, I believe object-related has grind rail stuff. I don't believe I created variables for grind rails. I could be wrong. I might have. I don't remember off the top of my head. But the idea is, for the most part, we want to replace as many of the loose variables as we can with structures, but we're not going to be doing that absolutely everywhere, but where it mostly needs it, like the main character, like the main character blueprint. I don't really see us doing that for something like the enemy blueprints, because at the moment the enemy blueprints aren't massive in terms of variable density. But after this combat update, you never know. Maybe it might grow big enough to where we might consider doing that. Oh god, I am hiccuping a lot. Sorry, I just talked like a whole lot. Because that's like the only thing keeping me awake right now.
Why do you do this to yourself?
Alright, was you gonna say something, Reese?
No. Never said it.
Oh.
Did I make a sound like I was going to say something?
I think you did at one point in time, and I think I talked over you by accident.
No, I had nothing to say.
Oh, okay.
So it's good that time.
Very good.
Those were the easy ones. You got lucky this
Has
time.
Emmanuel got anything to say?
Yes.
You do, of course you do.
Yes. Fizz, fire up the game and do a slide kick or whatever you call it. The thing where you kick, slide in and kick.
How did you add that?
Yeah.
Alright. Alright, so let's take a look here. Gonna be a bit difficult to see at first. Let's slow down time so it's easier.
Yeah, unfortunately, since I can't change the thickness of the lines.
If you guys look really closely, you can see hitboxes or collision capsules. They're offset incorrectly though.
No, that's just what I had them set currently.
Yeah.
Like I made a capsule collider that's like low to the ground, and then I made one that was attached to Sonic's foot, but like offset away from it, so it has more range. That's just an example. That's not the final one.
Yeah. Do they like actually work, or do they just?
Not yet.
Hitbox be like freaking what you call it, Smash Bros.
Yeah, they're Smash Bros hitboxes. Woo! There he goes.
Woo!
He went high.
Yeah, that wasn't the hitbox. That was just another interaction.
Yeah.
You can also, if you boost, you can also do it.
Oh, is that it? It has been boosted? Okay. So yeah, this is a buff. If I'm gonna go ahead and boost here, yeah, that giant hitbox, that is now the boost hitbox.
Yes, currently we can change it, but like since we're using hitboxes now. Before, if you don't know, when you boosted to hit an enemy with the boost, you hit him directly with Sonic, the actor, or the capsule collider that he inhabits, which is kind of tiny.
It's
so
very tiny.
Now we're going to make the boost use a hitbox that is much bigger.
Yeah, so if obviously you guys have played boost games before, boost titles, you know all about that stuff. Whenever you boost it into an enemy, essentially the boost cone was essentially the radius in which you could run into an enemy with the boost and hit them. Not Sonic's body, and obviously if you've played the boost titles, you know that the boost cone actually protrudes out from Sonic's body. what it used to be and what it is in vanilla Infinity, and pretty much any previous build of Infinity Plus. As Emmanuel said, you had to hit the enemies with the capsule that that covers Sonic's body, which is essentially just the size of Sonic's body. So if you wanted to hit an enemy, you had to be like insanely precise. If I was like this here, I would not hit the enemy. Yeah. This would not hit the enemy at all. Even though it looks like Sonic would overlap with the enemy, the capsules don't quite align. But if I did it now, Sonic's gonna hit them because the boost capsule is now much, much wider and more encapsulates the boost cone.
The hitbox doesn't do anything yet. You actually hit them.
Yeah. The hitbox doesn't actually do anything.
Yeah, I didn't program the hitboxes to actually interact with enemies, which it will be easy to do. I just haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
But let's take our word for it.
Yeah, I've seen it work. No, you have it in your other build, don't you?
Yeah, my other build, yeah.
I would ask you to live stream it, but your internet would probably die.
Yeah. There's something else cool you can show off then. If you exit out of the game and go look up the kick montage animation.
Where is that at?
I think it's in character Sonic. I would just look it up.
Kick montage?
Just look up kick. You'll find it.
Kick squat. I don't think that's it.
Go back a level.
Kick montage.
Yeah.
Kick move.
God damn it! What the hell?
So, as you can see, the main thing I wanted to work on was I wanted a way for you to preview these hitboxes we're going to be using while you use the animation, because while not all hitboxes will be tied to animations, a lot of them probably will be, especially ones that involve like the character doing an action. The one problem is that you can't scrub through and see them because they use what should I call it? I'm using a system that makes like debug lines dynamically, but you can't slow down time.
How do I?
Oh, someone's lawn mowing outside.
That's fine. How do you slow it down?
The little play icon in the viewport, like above Sonic.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah. Hey, Tiger, you're back.
Shoot.
Yeah. I may add in a function to like you click on it and it just shows the hitboxes at all times. But for now, this is the move.
Yeah.
And what's cool is what I'm using is I'm using a custom animation notify state. And these things are really cool. You can pass them data. They automatically cancel whenever the animation stops. So if I were to do a slide kick and then jump, the hitboxes were to get rid of each other immediately. And it allowed me to have custom programs running. For instance, having the hitboxes, display like this. So if you scroll down to the notify states or the notifiers or whatever, you can click. I have two hitboxes being done right now, and I named them S kick and S kick 1. If you click on the bottom one, and then go to the right and click on preview scene settings.
Over here?
Yeah, near the top. Like go to a different tab.
You mean the details tab?
Yeah, the details. Sorry. You can see the anim notify area. There's something called hit collision data or hit call data. That's the data that we're using for the collision boxes currently. This is subject to change, but you can actually change these in real time, and this will change the different properties of it. For instance, you can give it a different name. You can attach it to a different bone. Right now, it's not attached to any bones, but as you can see, Fizz is changing the size of it, and that is dynamically changing the size of the hitbox that's being used currently. And you can change the offset and stuff like that, to the rotation, even the shape of the hitbox that's being used. Currently, there's 3 shapes. And when I say 3 shapes, I mean a box, a sphere, and a capsule. Right now, Unreal doesn't allow you to create, at least in blueprints, other shapes of collisions, at least programmatically. So these are 3 hitbox shapes we have currently. And like, for instance, if you go to SKick1, the other animation notify, you can see its data is different. It's attached to foot _R. Hmm. And the offset right now in the X direction is 100. Now, I'm not the best at vectors, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But if you were to change that variable around, I'm pretty sure if you set it to 0, for instance, it would actually be closer to Sonic's foot, because right now it's like 100 units away from his foot. In the offset.
Are you talking about the offset?
Yeah. So now, when he changes it, it will be inside of Sonic's foot when it comes on again. And you can change, of course, you can change the duration of these hitboxes. So now it's much closer to Sonic's foot, and if you were to, he can increase and decrease. He can do this to all the different like parameters in the offset too, and they will change appropriately depending on the bone. You even change the bone that this is attached to programmatically, well, in real time also. So if you type in head with a capital H, instead of being attached to his foot, it will be attached to his head.
I'm not doing that.
Head.
I think they get the point. This is very self-explanatory.
Oh. Christ.
Tiger is back.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and we also have different sources of data inside, but we could change that. The main thing I want to get across is that you can preview hitboxes that we're going to be adding to the game. And this is not the only way you have to create hitboxes. If you go to the action graph into the boost code, towards the right some more, there's going to be a sequence that you're going to follow. Yeah, there you go. And follow the, go to the right some more.
Oh, my player hitbox.
Yeah, yeah. So what I did was that I wanted these hitboxes to work with any sort of actor you can create. So what I did was that I made a child actor class component, class, we have a mouthful, that you can, in theory, attach to any actor. And this contains all, we'll show it off some other time, this contains all the code required to create hitboxes, destroy hitboxes, all of that. And one function inside of it is spawn hit capsule. And there's a function for each shape, because doing it another way is actually more annoying for whatever reason. So you can pass it data using the structure, because the hitbox data is a structure. And in this case, we have the boost function, boost hitbox data. We have this data passed, along with some other stuff we need. We need to pass in a dictionary of hit capsules that we have for upkeeping reasons. Please don't ask why. And also the mesh that we're using. And if you go to the in-boost code, there's going to be code to get rid of the capsule, because you need to create the capsule and you also need to get rid of it at some point.
Oh, destroy hit collision.
Yeah. And for this one, you have to give it the name and also the shape. If you, that way it knows it searches up the list that we passed it in earlier when spawning it, and gets rid of the hitbox. So that's something, we may change it around, but currently that's the system we're using for creating hit and getting rid of hitboxes without using animations. And you can even go as far to use like just regular animation notifies and going in animation blueprint and creating these things. But the main thing to come across is we were working on hitboxes, and eventually we're going to use this for combat, along with other things.
Huh. What'd you say, Reese?
I just said yes.
Oh.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Also, aren't we supposed to no longer... Oh, that's right. These aren't even plugged in, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I was going to say, we shouldn't be using these anymore.
Yeah, I just kept them in case something happens.
Anyway.
Anywho.
So, yeah. Probably one last thing, because I'm starting to get tired and there's not really a whole lot much else we can talk about. We had some concept ideas for Sonic's, like combat for Sonic.
Oh yeah, that's right.
What?
It was more what you guys are going on about, or was it something that I mentioned as well?
Yeah, I know me and Emmanuel have talked about it the most. I don't know if you've talked about it much at all.
No, I haven't really been thinking about Sonic's combat at the moment, so I guess it's you guys.
Yep.
Yeah, mostly us, too.
So, a large majority of Sonic's combat capabilities, really throughout all of, history, because to be completely honest, Sonic has never really had a lot in terms of combat unless you play Sonic Battle. Like,
Or
yeah,
Sonic the Fighters.
or like Sonic the Fighters, you know. I mean, Sonic has the boost, he has the stomp, he has the bounce, and he has the homing attack. Those are essentially his, what did I say? What was that, 4 or 5 abilities?
Yeah, and mostly the homing attack for all of history. Like, since
Yeah, essentially. And the spin dash, essentially, as well.
Yeah, rolling, jumping.
Yeah. So, Sonic has never really had much in terms of combat, and the abilities he does have for combat are very much one note. Like, they work one way, and that's kind of, the way that it's meant to work, and you basically, you press X button, Sonic does X thing, and then you get Y outcome because of it. And that's pretty much always the scenario, save for, any very specific exceptions to the rule, like springs or spiked enemies or things like that. So we have come up with some concepts that stays true to Sonic, because keep in mind, all of Sonic's abilities have been built with the idea of keeping up a gameplay flow state that involves speed, platforming, and exploration. So we wanted to make sure that whenever we designed Sonic's combat, we wanted to keep up with that. We wanted to make sure that Sonic still had those things. And to be honest, even though I know what I'm about to say is kind of going to be a little bit weird, but just keep in mind that even though we're doing this, we are still planning on giving Sonic some unique combat abilities. Like, as in something new. We're still giving him some new, like, all new things as well in terms of combat. But he's probably not going to be getting as much as other characters are. A lot of his combat is going to be evolved forms of his already existing moves. Because
Sonic already has a lot of content. We don't want to have to create more than necessary.
Yeah, essentially that. He already has a lot of fucking moves, and the moves that he has are, like, they're great moves. Like, the homing attack's a great move, the boost is a good move, the stomp's a good move, the bounce is a good move. All of them are great moves, but they're all very one note. Like, yeah, they can be used to hurt an enemy, but they can also be used to do something platforming-wise, and that's it. It's just one of those two things. And usually the thing it can do for platforming is usually always the same thing. It doesn't matter what you're going to do with the stomp. You're always either going to be breaking through the ground or you're going to be stomping something into the ground, like a switch or something like that. Even though you can bounce multiple times. What the fuck was that?
Emmanuel?
Oh, shoot, that was my phone. Sorry.
Yes, that was your phone. God, that was fucking loud.
I think it was a voice. Yeah, it was a voicemail. Sorry about that.
Okay.
I didn't expect it to be loud. I'm sorry, I just fucked your train of thought. You were talking about the different moves and how they all, like, throughout Sonic's history, Sonic's moves that could be for combat only really did one thing and one thing only.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, same thing, like, with the bounce, you use it, yeah, you can hit enemies, but pretty much you only ever use the bounce to just get up on a higher ledge. Essentially, we want to take pre-existing abilities, like I said before, and we want to evolve upon them. So what we've been thinking about doing, we've been mainly thinking about the homing attack, because that's Sonic's, not including the boost, that is like Sonic's primary offensive ability, is the homing attack.
I would argue more so than the boost, because it's not tied to any resource that Sonic can not have.
That's true. But a lot of the times, a lot of the problems that people have with the homing attack is the fact that it's insanely one note. The only challenge there is to the homing attack is to, 1, make sure enemies are within range, and 2, make sure the enemies are not already doing something that can hurt you before you home attack them, like spike enemies aren't currently spiked, or electrical enemies aren't currently electrified, things like that. The homing attack, and even then, you're not even, like, doing anything skill-wise with the homing attack. You're just waiting for the enemies or your environment to allow you to use the homing attack. There's not really any skill with the ability, but more so the timing of using the ability.
Yeah, and this was on top of, like, other issues, like the homing attack breaking up on the flow of gameplay, because you kind of just teleport somewhere and now you lost all your momentum and stuff like that. But really, that's just because the homing attack only does like one thing.
Yeah. So we've come up with a couple of ideas involving the homing attack to help expand it as a combat move, as well as potentially give it some more platforming capabilities outside of just pop you up in the air, you know?
Yeah, and like for instance, if you play the game, this may help you keep staying awake, who knows. Sonic actually has as like a little like teaser of this, Sonic can already kind of do the concept we're thinking of, which is you can cancel the homing attack with a dodge currently.
Yeah, I keep hitting the escape button.
One thing I do is just turn down Unreal in the volume mixer.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously this is still going to be a thing, but one thing that we're planning on doing, or we're thinking of doing, is coming up with what I like to call move modifiers. Essentially, they're going to, in the process of doing a move, you can hit a button to modify the existing move. So if I were to, and this is theoretical, obviously we don't have anything to show in-game because we've not had the chance to work on it yet. But if I'm in the process of doing a homing attack on the enemy, I could, for example, like in the time it takes me from move to point A to point B, which point B being the enemy's existence, I could hit a button to alter what type of homing attack I'm going to do. So let's say if I hit the boost button in the process of moving from point A to point B, maybe Sonic will not stop at the enemy. Maybe Sonic will continue moving through the enemy. Or maybe Sonic will hit an enemy and then automatically jump to the next enemy. Like a boosting buzzsaw home attack move or something like that.
Yeah, and you can add timing elements to it also. Like, this may be, depending on how things work, you can maybe make it so you have to hold it down for a period of time. So the further away you are, it has a different effect. Like, for instance, the buzzsaw move. Let's say it goes to enemies, the first one you said. Let's say if you were to start pressing the boost button right when you hit the enemy, Sonic will take some time to buzzsaw through the enemy because the enemy's tough and he has to, like, go through it. But if you were to hold down the boost button, like, as soon as you start homing attack before you got to an enemy, Sonic will instead buzzsaw through the enemy immediately, as if he revved up the buzzsaw before getting to it. That's just one example.
Another example we could do is, like, say, for example, you maybe hit the stomp button. And obviously the stomp button and the bounce button are mapped to the same buttons. And depending on, obviously, which move you have equipped, it could do something different. One idea that I had, which is mainly useful for flying enemies, but it can be used for ground enemies as well. If you've ever played Sonic Battle, Sonic has an axe kick. That's not what it's called, but essentially it's a kick. It's where Sonic does a front flip with his leg extended, and he basically slams you into the ground. Perhaps if you're doing a homing attack and you hit the crouch button, and say, for example, maybe you have the stomp equipped, Sonic could zoom to the enemy, and then instead of, like, bursting through the enemy, he could, or, like, popping up into the air, he could do an axe kick and launch the enemy into the ground. And if they're a flying enemy, maybe they can do explosion radius damage and such. Or maybe if they're an already grounded enemy, maybe the eagle kick could, I think that's what it was called in Sonic Battle, was like the eagle kick or eagle strike or something like that. Maybe it could knock an enemy into the air, like you hit them and then they bounce off the ground up into the air, something like that. I don't know. But the idea is we want to modify existing moves, like in real time as you play in the combat. That way, combat feels like is an extension of Sonic's already existing abilities. And that way, it's not like an entirely new system you have to learn. It's not like, oh, I have to figure out which button is the punch button, or, you know, like, how do I want to approach this? I have so many different moves to my disposal right now. How can I, like, approach this fight? When in reality, you can approach the fight or a group of enemies just as you would with any other Sonic game, meaning most likely you're going to boost into them or you're going to try to home attack them or slide or kick them. But rather than, obviously just boosting right through them and killing them immediately, you do have to take time to kill them, but you don't have to think about, which move of my giant plethora of moves do I have to pick from. I can go, okay, I need to do one of my already existing moves that I know, and how am I going to modify it from that point on? Like, maybe I want to start a fight with a regular homing attack. Maybe I want to do that. Like, I hit an enemy with the regular home attack to pop myself in the air, get a better advantage, and then I'm like, oh, there's a flying enemy over there above a small group of enemies. If I do my axle kick, I can home attack the flying enemy, press the crouch button in the middle of doing so to axle kick the flying enemy into the ground, dealing explosive damage to nearby enemies. It allows me to use my already pre-existing abilities and modify them in real time in combat, depending on what kind of combat scenarios you set up to essentially give both the player and the creator or the level creator creativity on how they want to explore combat, as well as make it feel like it flows properly in a Sonic game, if that makes sense.
And this can be extended to other characters too. For instance, we can give Knuckles moves, like for instance, Glide can be given different properties possibly, or maybe we can make it so his punches can be used for combat and platforming or whatever. Like they're just not just one-note moves. Mm-hmm. They can be modified. But Sonic's going to be the one we try out on first because he already has assets, and also, I mean, Sonic. If you get Sonic right, you could probably get the other characters right too.
Yeah.
If you want, because I actually did open up my other build, and I can show off, the one modifier I was testing out, the boost through?
Yeah.
Yeah, here, let me start streaming. If the stream dies,
still hang around though.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I can also show off like the hitboxes doing stuff, but yeah, this is my other build. See, that's a regular homing attack, but if I were to press the boost button while homing attacking this enemy, I go through him. And in this build I have right now, you have to be a certain distance away. So if I tried doing the same thing at a closer distance, it doesn't work. Or in that case, it does work. Ignore me. See, it didn't work there.
I think
This is just a...
Yeah, go ahead.
This is a very basic build, like a very basic implementation of it, so it's not going to work properly. But that's the general idea of the boost doing different things and stuff like that. Also, here the hitbox is working.
Yeah, this is what the kick move is supposed to do.
Yeah, at least currently. It's my idea is that if you hit him from the side or from the back, you send him upwards. But if you hit him straight on, you just give him a kick in the pants. Or not that guy, this guy. You send him forward. Just a little idea I had. That's not actually how the hitboxes probably will work. Ow. But just an idea. And I died.
You just get proper smacked.
Yeah, that's actually how the combat will work. You will just die immediately.
If you get hit, you die.
Yeah, it's like Hotline Miami. We're kidding.
So yeah, that's what we've got so far with Sonic. Mainly because we've been working on this restructure, so we've not had that much of a chance to work on combat. But we're pretty much nearing the end of the restructure, so now we can refocus on combat. We've got you and Koenji working on combat. Me and Reese are going to be working on the Wisps. Next, no, go ahead.
I will teach you guys how these things work because, like I said, something I could probably tell the viewers this. Someone realized that no other game with Sonic and combat really works properly. Like Sonic Heroes has this issues. Even Sonic 06 technically has combat, but it's just bounce and then it's done. Unless you're Silver, in that case, you cry in the corner.
Yeah.
It's just like Sonic and combat normally doesn't mix in terms of like in the core games, and we realized that we should probably really pay attention to it because unlike other updates, we're not just taking previous ideas and making it work or fixing issues. We're trying to implement a new system that is currently unique to our system, our build. And I know that Fizz said that mostly me and Koenji will be working on it, but I don't want the combat system to only just be me and Koenji's vision of combat. I want it to be the entire team's vision. So hopefully we can create something that everyone will like and won't just be some niche little thing that only some people like. Hopefully, everyone will be able to enjoy it at different levels. You don't have to be good at combat to even enjoy it. It'll be like a platinum game. Platinum games can be enjoyed by noobs and masters. That's the ideal, at least. We're still, still trying to make it.
For reasons outside of combat, if you know what I mean.
Oh god, we lost Fizz.
Anyway.
Pass out.
Yeah. I was saying something, I forgot. God damn it.
We're going to talk about the stomp idea we had?
What?
We're going to talk about the stomp idea we had, or we're just going to talk about something else?
Yeah, we could mention the stomp real quick, but I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, we could talk about it later.
I don't know if there's really anything else that we really need to mention at the moment.
A good thing for another time.
Yeah. Oh, the one thing I was going to say is by next stream, obviously not next Monday, but the Monday after, because we're doing this bi-weekly stream thing, which we've been good at doing so far. Like, we've been keeping at it, which is good.
Yeah.
By not next Monday, but the Monday after, we will hopefully have something like legitimate to actually show off, which
July 6th is the next Monday.
Yeah. So July 6th is our next dev log, obviously. Oh, excuse me. I think I'm going to stream again tomorrow, because tomorrow is the New Game Plus Expo.
Oh, yeah.
Game announcement.
Yep. Hopefully we get another Sonic game announcement.
And you guys can stop getting your Sonic picks from fan games, and you can stop paying attention to us.
Yeah.
I mean, you haven't been hyping it up at all, though, so...
Yeah. I would have to agree and give it a strong 50-50. Like, on one hand, I don't think they're... Like, there's a good strong chance they're not going to show anything Sonic related at all. But at the other hand, like, even though they've not hyped it up, they were going to show something at PAX, but PAX got canceled last moment, and they didn't hype up PAX either. So maybe they just had no real hype plans. And considering their social media team has been going through changes over the past couple of months, maybe they just not had enough time to do it. Because I don't know about you, but the Sonic social media team has just kind of been silent for the most part in general. Like, not just in terms of hyping things up, just in general silent. I think they did like one or two things here besides their streams, but maybe we'll see. Maybe we won't. We'll figure it out tomorrow.
We shall see.
Tiger says hopefully, but don't have my hopes up at all. I have my hopes up a little bit. Not necessarily for what it is that they're going to show off, but just they may actually show something off. But
I hope they show something off, but I don't really have my hopes up, honestly.
I mean, they said they had something at PAX, and that was months ago.
I'm talking
not PAX,
I'm talking more so. Oh no, they don't actually show anything off. I'll be kind of pissed. I'm more so talking about like the product, like if.
I don't care about what the product will be. I just want them to. I just want to know that they're actually working on a product. That's what I want to know. I don't care about what the actual product itself is. I just want to know that there is a product to be had.
We want to be happy.
I don't know. They said they were going to show something off at, not PAX, I said PAX earlier. South by Southwest.
So.
It's like, do something, poke Sega with stick, do something.
Exactly.
Yeah. They're like, oh, we have a thing we're gonna show off on South by Southwest, and the South by Southwest got canceled. And they're like, oh, we're gonna look through alternate means of an event to show off what we're gonna be doing. And then even though there have been like I think 1 or 2 events since South by Southwest that Sega could have done or gone to, and they just didn't. But this is the first time that we've heard that they're actually going to be participating in an event, and it's actually going to be a pretty decently sized event because a lot of people are completely aware of it, and a lot of other companies are getting on board with it. I'm so confused though because they said Sega and Atlas, but also some sites say Sega Atlas.
Yeah.
I have a weird idea of what they could do.
Hmm.
I think this will be totally Sega because they'll totally misinterpret the market if they do this. But what if they made a Sonic movie game tie-in?
Oh God.
Because think about it, Sonic
That
movie was
is-
actually pretty popular.
That is the
Well,
one thing I would actually actively not like. Like that, like just thinking about that actually makes me mad. I don't even want to think about that.
Oh gosh.
That would
Just goes to bed.
actually make me
Can't have
mad.
a consistent amount of time of just having modern Sonic style games.
I
There's always
actually,
something that's thrown in,
yeah,
like boom.
I would say that is a very, very, very low likelihood considering Sega had like very little control over the movie, so they really probably didn't know too much about. Well, it's not that they didn't know about the movie. Obviously, they had to
Well,
tell Sega what the movie was about, but
you know,
it would make the Sonic cycle even more legitimate. Yeah, that's true. That would
Yeah,
end up
but-
happening.
Like I said, it would fit in with Sega's bad reputation.
But
that
it
won't
doesn't
happen.
fit in with literally anything else is the problem.
Yeah.
just don't mention the cycle, and it won't happen.
But at the same time, Sega, unlike Nintendo, who are the kings of left field, Sega is the kings of right field, meaning they do something unexpected, but nobody wanted it. Game Gear Micro.
Game Gear Micro prize.
Who asked for that? Who asked for the Game Gear Micro? Nobody asked for the Game Gear Micro. And not only that, but like the actual Game Gear Micro itself and how they're selling it is dumb. Like, despite the fact that Game Gear games are probably like insanely small in terms of storage size, each Game Gear Micro is going to have like 5 games, and each of the different colors is going to have a different
Wow.
game.
4 games.
Oh, 4, I'm sorry.
4 on each.
They're going to have 4 games, and each one's going to have a different game, meaning, oh, I really like the look of this yellow Game Gear, but all the games on it are shit, and I don't want any of them. So I can't have a Game Gear of my favorite color because it's got shit games. I don't know. I feel like the entire marketing scheme for the Game Gear Micro is dumb.
Yes.
It was just dumb. But
Falco Munch.
Falcon Munch. Yeah, Crash 4 is a thing. Crash 4 happens.
Oh yeah, Crash 4.
I'm excited
yeah.
for that. Kind of.
Sonic Adventure 2 remake looking good.
Sonic Adventure 2 remake's looking good. Alright, we hit an hour and a half. We usually stream for about 2 hours, but an hour and a half's enough for me. I'm tired.
Yeah. Stream's over. Go home, everyone.
Sonic Adventure 4 is on the way. Alright, well
Yes.
let's see. We've got Sonic Heroes, that's Sonic Adventure 3. We've got Sonic 06, that's Sonic Adventure 3. We've got Sonic Unleashed, that's Sonic Adventure 3. We've got what? 3 Sonic Adventure 3s? When is Sonic Adventure 7? I need Sonic
Yeah.
Adventure 7.
No, I want Sonic Adventure 8.
Dude, Shadow the Hedgehog counts.
Sonic Forces is Sonic Adventure 8. Because Infinite is 8 sideways.
Sonic, yeah, there's multiple playable characters, each with like their own little arcing stories. Sonic Forces is Adventure 8.
Yes.
And it's super divisive in the fan base, so it fits in perfectly with the rest of the adventure games.
Exactly. Oh my god.
Hmm.
I just saw a tweet with the Vault Boy Gunner from Smash Bros. And the tweet says, "This means Vault Boy is finally in a game that runs at 60 FPS without crashing. Good for him." Oof.
Oof, that is oof size big right there.
Oof,
Yeah.
sorry.
That's a large laundry load right there.
Yeah. I'd say that is 1 unit of oof. What is it? Absolute
Absolute
unit.
size of the unit.
The absolute size of him. That's a unit right there.
I love it. But yes, everybody, we are wrapping up.
I am go to bed. Everyone, have a good day. Thank you for
Please do
stopping by.
pass out. This we shall see you.
See you. I'm gonna start coding in Tails' gun run now.
I'm gonna go fire a manual. Bye.